JJ Redick, Mr. Top Gun himself, okay, is a career 41.5% shooter from three.
I don't necessarily think it's one thing. I feel like I know the game pretty well because of some coaches I played for. I think that's part of coaching, not avoiding things and not avoiding confrontation. Locker rooms, team chemistry,
This is the story of how a podcaster with zero coaching experience took over the Los Angeles Lakers and transformed them from a stagnant, last-place offense into the fifth best in the NBA. 6 months with JJ Redick solved a problem that plagued the Lakers for years, and he did it with essentially the same roster.
Now let me get on you for that ridiculous take that you just spewed to the American public, okay? How dare you?
The Lakers hired someone who'd never coached a single NBA game, whose only credential was leading his son's 4th grade basketball team to a championship in what he jokingly called the 55 Swish League. That actually happened, and somehow it's working. May 2024 arrived with the Lakers getting bounced from the playoffs in the first round by Denver. And while their 47-35 record looked respectable on paper, the underlying numbers told a completely different story. The team was fundamentally broken at a level most fans didn't understand. Darvin Ham's Lakers ran 27.3 off-ball screens per game, which put them dead last in the entire NBA. The ball stuck like glue, with the team ranking 23rd in passes per game, and their offensive rating sat at 113.6 to place them 11th in the league. Think about that for a second. A team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis could barely crack the top 10 offensively. What made it worse was the Lakers finishing dead last in offensive rebounds, grabbing just 8.2 per game, while ranking 28th in three-point attempts at 31.4 per game, despite shooting a respectable 37.7% from deep. They were good at threes, but refused to shoot them, like owning a Ferrari and only driving it in first gear. D'Angelo Russell said it point blank at Media Day, "We didn't have a defensive structure last season." Anthony Davis admitted after a playoff loss, "We have stretches where we don't know what we're doing on both ends of the floor." And multiple reports confirmed Ham had lost the locker room entirely. May 3rd, 2024, brought the inevitable firing of Darvin Ham. Just 4 days after that playoff elimination, and with 2 years still remaining on his contract, the Lakers didn't immediately turn to JJ Redick, which is what made the whole situation so strange. They swung for the fences and pursued Dan Hurley, the UConn coach who had just won back-to-back national championships, offering him 6 years and $70 million to come to Los Angeles. June 10th came, and Hurley said no thanks, choosing to stay at UConn instead. This created a perception problem for Redick that would follow him into the job because it looked like he was the consolation prize, the backup plan. He kind of was. What people didn't know was that Redick had already spent 90 minutes talking basketball with GM Rob Pelinka at the NBA Draft Combine in mid-May, then followed up with a formal all-day interview between Games 4 and 5 of the NBA Finals, games that Redick was literally broadcasting for ESPN at the time. Pelinka called on the morning of June 20th, 2024, and offered him the job. 4 years, $32 million, made Redick only the 13th non-interim head coach in NBA history hired without any previous coaching experience. And 4 days later, on his 40th birthday, the Lakers introduced him as their 29th head coach.
Lakers are hiring JJ Redick to a 4-year deal to coach the team, according to Woj. Redick met with Lakers VP and General Manager Rob Pelinka and owner Jeannie Buss over the weekend. Pelinka became sold on Redick's ability to connect with the players.
The controversy needs addressing because it was substantial. 2 months before Ham's firing, Redick and LeBron James launched a podcast together called Mind the Game, which premiered in March 2024 and featured Redick explaining basketball concepts on a whiteboard while having detailed discussions about offensive schemes and defensive rotations with LeBron. The optics were absolutely terrible. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith reported that numerous black coaches called him expressing concerns about this podcast happening, while Ham's job security hung in the balance. And it looked exactly like what critics said it was, a prolonged job audition conducted in public. Rob Pelinka tried to manage this carefully when he said, LeBron was very supportive of our organization in this process, and that's a different word. And I want to be mindful of the word than involved. Sources indicated that Anthony Davis was actually more involved in the coaching search than LeBron, with the Lakers viewing this hire as more about AD than about keeping LeBron happy. Redick announced he was excommunicated from the content space when he took the job, meaning no more podcasts while coaching. The show eventually came back in March 2025, with Steve Nash replacing Redick as LeBron's co-host. Hiring a podcaster to coach the Lakers sounds insane on its face, but Redick wasn't just some media personality who happened to play basketball. His pedigree ran deep in ways that made the gamble at least defensible. Duke under Mike Krzyzewski produced Redick as the 2006 Naismith College Player of the Year, and he set the NCAA record for career three-pointers with 457, while becoming one of the most decorated college players in history. 15 years in the NBA across 6 teams followed, with Redick making 1,953 pointers to rank 15th all-time when he retired. More than the numbers, coaches and teammates constantly talked about how Redick understood basketball at a level most players never reach.
Really specifically, Coach K, he taught me about adaptability. And our game, the NBA, changes so fast. I look at coaching as a way to help. It's like I had so many people help me in my career, and not just head coaches, but assistant coaches, player development.
His introductory press conference on June 24th revealed his mindset when someone asked about his lack of coaching experience, and he didn't dance around it, saying directly, "I really don't give a fuck. I want to coach the Lakers. I don't want to dispel anything. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships." That's the kind of confidence you need when you're stepping into this pressure cooker with zero experience on your resume. September 30th, 2024, brought the team together at Mastro's Steakhouse in Beverly Hills, where Redick showed them a mission statement video with analytics benchmarks and handed out t-shirts with one word on them: details. That became the guiding principle of the entire season. And what Redick did with those details completely transformed how the Lakers played basketball. The statistics tell the story better than words can. Off-ball screens jumped from 27.3 per game, dead last, to 47.8 per game, to rank 14th in the NBA, while passes per game climbed from 23rd in the league all the way to 9th. Average touch length became the 9th shortest in the NBA, up from 19th, meaning the ball was moving, players were moving, and suddenly, this offense looked modern, instead of stuck in 2015. Offensive efficiency rating jumped to 117.0 points per 100 possessions to rank 5th in the entire NBA, up from 15th the year before, with essentially the same core roster producing completely different results. The most important change Redick made was building the offense around Anthony Davis as the hub, borrowing this concept from how Denver uses Nikola Jokic to orchestrate everything. Davis now leads the team in usage rate at 29.6%, his highest mark since joining the Lakers in 2019, averaging more touches per game and more dribbles per touch than at any point since player tracking began in 2013-14, while producing 1.19 points per direct touch as a career best. LeBron James, at 40 years old, is playing differently than he ever has in his career, and that's by design. His usage rate dropped to 24.8% as a career low, bringing the ball up the court just 24.1 possessions per game, for his fewest since 2015-16. What Redick did was brilliant in its simplicity. LeBron now sets 7.4 off-ball screens per 100 possessions, nearly double what he did in 2022-2023, switching on 47% of defensive screens to rank 13th highest in the NBA. Redick found a way to keep LeBron effective while conserving his energy through scheme, rather than just asking him to do less, which is actual coaching that understands your personnel and builds a system that maximizes their strengths while managing their limitations. October 22nd brought the season opener with a 110-103 win over Minnesota, marking the Lakers' first opening night victory since 2016 to 17. And that game also featured something historic when LeBron and his son Bronny became the first father-son duo to play together in NBA history. The Lakers started 3-0 for their best start since 2010 to 11, then went on to win 6 straight games, completed on November 19th as their first 6-game winning streak in 5 years. Individual players blossomed under Redick's system in ways that validated his approach. Austin Reeves exploded to career highs across the board with 20.2 points per game, up from 15.9, plus 5.8 assists and 4.5 rebounds, responding to Redick's direct challenge when the coach told him, "You're no longer the undrafted guy who's a young player. You're one of the main guys now." Rookie Dalton Connect, the 17th pick in the draft, dropped 37 points and hit 9 three-pointers on November 19th against Utah to tie the NBA rookie record for threes in a single game. His shooting splits of 46% from the field and 37% from three have exceeded all expectations for a mid-first round pick. LeBron had historic moments too, recording 4 consecutive triple-doubles in November for the longest streak of his career, and a record for the oldest player to achieve that feat. Through approximately 22 games, the Lakers sat around 16-6 and firmly in second place in the Western Conference, holding the NBA's best record when leading after 3 quarters at 57-4 across Redick's tenure. For a team that historically blew leads under previous coaches, that number represents a fundamental change in how they finish games. The Lakers aren't perfect, not even close, and the problems reveal themselves clearly in the defensive numbers. Their defensive rating hovers around 21st in the NBA, with their transition defense qualifying as a complete disaster, allowing opponents to shoot 48.7% from the field as literally the worst in the league, while giving up 1.53 points per possession in transition. A 2-6 run in early December exposed the team's limitations, with blowout losses revealing the lack of depth on the roster. The team also contests about 36.6 shots per game, compared to 45.4 under Darvin Ham, which means nearly 9 fewer contested attempts every night, showing something's not working on that end of the floor. Redick acknowledged the transition defense issue directly when he said, "We've got to be able to get back and set our defense. The last 10 games where our defense has really fallen off, we're top 10 guarding every single half-court action, but we're the worst transition team." The 2025 playoffs brought Redick's harshest criticism when the Lakers lost to Minnesota in the first round, 4-1, and the series wasn't competitive. ESPN's Brian Windhorst absolutely torched Redick's performance, saying, "JJ Redick coached very immaturely in this series. His decision to not substitute for an entire half in Game 4 was frankly irrational. Game 4 was brutal to watch. Redick made no second-half substitutions, as the Lakers squandered a double-digit fourth-quarter lead with the same 5 guys out there getting more and more tired, while everyone watching knew what was happening." Kendrick Perkins piled on by saying, "I never want to blame this series on one individual, but I have to blame this series on JJ Redick." And even Magic Johnson publicly endorsed Windhorst's criticism to pile on further. Reports also surfaced that Redick walked out of a press conference after being questioned about relying on assistants for rotations, and that he needed to be calmed down by TNT's Reggie Miller during a pregame meeting. For all the regular season success, the playoff exit revealed that Redick still has a lot to learn about managing a 7-game series, making adjustments, and controlling his emotions in the highest pressure moments. The players still love playing for him, which tells you something about what's happening inside the locker room. LeBron James appeared on the Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash in November 2025 and drew parallels between Redick and Coach K at Duke, saying, "He's right to the point, no sugarcoating it, and if I'm seeing possessions or things not up to our standard, I'm going to show you my reaction. It's not to down you, it's about understanding what we're trying to build long-term." Austin Reeves was even more direct at his May 2025 exit interview. "I told him it was the most fun I've had playing basketball in a long time. Every day going to work. I enjoyed going to work." Anthony Davis got traded to Dallas in February 2025 as part of the Luka Doncic deal, but he still reflected positively on his time with Redick. First-time head coach, It was trying to figure each other out. For a guy who is a superstar, who had a decent amount of skepticism, with a coach who has never coached before, for him to just accept me and be open was big time. A team source captured the difference from the Ham era perfectly when they told reporters. One thing that used to drive guys crazy last year was how, after games, it was always how they just needed to play harder. Darvin never even considered publicly that he may have been part of the problem. JJ holds himself to that standard and calls himself out a bunch too. Did JJ Redick solve the Lakers' biggest problem? The answer depends on which problem you're asking about. The offense got fixed completely, with the numbers proving it beyond any doubt. Dead last in off-ball screens to 14th, 23rd in passes to 9th, 15th in offensive efficiency to 5th. Those aren't marginal improvements. Redick made Anthony Davis the centerpiece, extended LeBron's career by changing his role, and developed young players like Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect while making the Lakers fun to watch again with ball movement and player movement that looked like modern basketball. What he didn't fix, or at least hasn't fixed yet, are the defensive problems that emerged or got worse. Transition defense is a disaster. The emotional management in big moments needs work, and the playoff performance raised legitimate questions about whether he can make the adjustments needed to win a championship. The Lakers took a massive gamble on someone with elite basketball IQ, but zero experience, and they're getting exactly what you'd expect from that bet. The tactical understanding is there. The ability to implement a system is there. The buy-in from players is there. But the wisdom that only comes from making mistakes and learning from them is still developing. Redick himself acknowledged this after the playoff exit, saying, "I know I can be better," and that kind of self-awareness is exactly what you want from a young coach. The real question isn't whether JJ Redick solved the Lakers' biggest problem. It's whether he can keep solving new problems as they emerge. Can he fix the defense? Can he manage rotations better in the playoffs? Can he control his emotions when everything's on the line? $45 million over 5 years says the Lakers believe the answer is yes. Through one season, he's shown enough to justify that bet even with the painful playoff exit, because the offensive transformation alone proves he belongs in this conversation. In Los Angeles, with LeBron James on your roster and the ghosts of 17 championships hanging over you, belonging in the conversation isn't enough. You need to win, and that's the problem JJ Redick still needs to solve.